We've all been there, right? That email from your boss just pops up and all it says is, "We need to talk." No details, nothing. And boom, your mind just starts racing. You spend the next 2 days completely consumed by this worry, replaying every single interaction, searching for clues, absolutely convinced you've done something terribly wrong. Yeah, it's like this relentless machine in your head, just tirelessly rehashing everything over and over and over again. And you can't focus on anything else, right? Because you're just trapped in this endless internal monologue. It is absolutely exhausting. But what if I told you you could turn it off? So here's our game plan. First, we're gonna break down that vicious cycle of overthinking and really look at what it's costing you. Then we'll jump into a clear, actionable plan to help you claim back control, break free, and figure out when it might be time to ask for a little help. Okay, let's go back to that meeting with your boss. You walk in, your heart's just pounding, and they offer you a promotion. All that worry for nothing. But here's the crazy part. As you walk out of that office feeling relieved, the machine just starts right back up. Now you're obsessing about why you were so foolish to worry in the first place, and then you start worrying about the new job. Can I even handle this? Am I gonna be good enough? You see, the cycle, it just never stops. And that right there, that is the absolute core of the problem. This constant, relentless inner chatter, it's not productive at all. It's just a vicious, self-perpetuating cycle that keeps feeding on itself, you know? It traps you in this endless loop of worry and analysis. Okay, let's be super clear about something. This is not just some harmless mental noise. There's actually a clinical term for it, repetitive negative thinking, or RNT, and it is genuinely destructive. This is the stuff that fuels the start and the continuation of major problems, whether you're stuck ruminating on the past or constantly worrying about the future. So what's really happening here is this massive split that overthinking creates. On one hand, you've got your mind, right? It's desperately trying to control every possible outcome and avoid any kind of pain. But in doing that, it completely disconnects from your body, which is just left to endure all the stress and all the anxiety. It's a strategy that totally backfires. And the consequences of this, they're really severe. We're talking about feelings of helplessness and even self-loathing. It just completely drains your energy. It makes it almost impossible to concentrate. And yeah, it is significantly linked to heightened anxiety and depression. It even has real tangible effects on your physical health, especially as you get older. But listen, and this is maybe the most important thing I'm gonna say, you're not doomed to this fate. That feeling that you're helpless to stop this cycle, it's a powerful myth. But that's all it is, a myth. You absolutely can break free. Okay, so how do we actually start to fix this? Well, the foundational shift in your thinking has to be this, realizing that you are the referee of your own mind. Think about it. Your brain is this relentless thought-generating machine, just cranking out ideas constantly. But here's the secret. You don't have to believe every single one of them. This is so important. I want you to really let this sink in. Just because a thought is loud, or it pops up all the time, or it feels incredibly intense, that does not automatically mean it's helpful or even true. You have to learn the skill of creating some distance, of separating yourself from your thoughts so that you can choose which ones are actually worth listening to. And that leads us to another key distinction. Look, overthinking is not some innate trait you're born with, like your eye color. It's a learned strategy. It's a bad habit. And what's the good news about bad habits? They can be broken. All right, so let's get practical. Enough with the why, let's talk about the how. We're gonna walk through a 6-step toolkit that you can start using today to set some hard limits on your thinking and redirect your focus to something way more productive. So here they are, the 6 steps. First, notice and name. Second, set firm limits. Then, change the channel. Move to concrete action, shift to the present, and finally, accept and face. Okay, step 1. This is all about awareness. You've got to catch yourself in the act. See, overthinking is usually this unconscious pattern, right? So you need to get really good at noticing when it starts. What are your triggers? And when you catch it happening, I want you to actually say it out loud. I am overthinking right now. Just that simple act of naming it is the first huge step to breaking the pattern. All right, step 2. This is going to sound a little strange, but trust me, it's incredibly effective. You're going to schedule your worry time. Yep, you heard me. When a worry pops up, you postpone it. You tell yourself, okay, brain, I hear you. I'll deal with this at 2 p.m.
Then, when 2 p.m. rolls around, you don't just sit and stew in it, you get it all out on paper. What this does is it proves to your brain that there is a time and a place for worry, which means by default, there's also a time for not worrying. Now for step 3, I want you to think of your mind like a TV, and you are holding the remote control. So when you find yourself stuck on that awful looping worry channel, you need to actively click that button and change it. Consciously shift your focus away from that downward spiral of things you can't control and onto the 1 or 2 things you can control, right here in this moment. Okay, step 4 is huge. It's all about learning to ask yourself better questions. You have to stop asking these big, vague, useless why questions. You know the ones. Why am I such a failure? Or what's the matter with me? These are total dead ends. They don't lead to any productive action, they just keep you stuck. So instead of that, I want you to ask this incredibly powerful question. What is one small thing I can do about this today? See that shift? It moves you out of that helpless, abstract worry and straight into the world of concrete, practical action. It's all about making a little progress, not about finding some perfect solution. Look, you can't just tell yourself to stop thinking. That's not how our brains work. It's impossible. You have to replace the thought with something else. So for step 5, you're going to consciously turn your attention away from that inner world of negative thoughts and toward the outer world. Use your senses. What are 5 things you can see right now? What are 4 things you can hear? What can you feel? Get out of your head and into your body. And this brings us to our final step, number 6, and it's a really important distinction to make. While distraction is a great tool in the short term, long-term avoidance just makes everything worse. A lot of the time, overthinking is actually a sign that there's some underlying emotion that you need to acknowledge. So ultimately, you have to face your problems and just allow yourself to actually feel what you're feeling. Now look, these tools are really powerful, but sometimes that cycle is just too strong to break on your own, and that is perfectly okay. If you find that overthinking is seriously interfering with your ability to just function day to day, then it's probably time to seek professional help. And please know, you are definitely not alone in this. And the great news is, there are specific, evidence-based therapies that are designed to disrupt this exact pattern of thinking. Things like cognitive behavioral therapy or CBT, acceptance and commitment therapy, and metacognitive therapy. These can give you that professional level toolkit you need to cope way more effectively. So, when it all comes down to it, the most crucial point is this. The power to choose rests with you. You get to decide whether you're going to engage with a trigger thought or if you're just going to let it pass by, like a cloud in the sky. Ultimately, you are the one in control. This is all about taking back your energy. It's about finally stopping that relentless machine in your mind so that you can return your focus and your precious energy to the life you actually want to be living.